All right, so if you are watching this video, presumably you have already watched the one that explains the pool table animation assignment. Now, normally when I make those videos, I show you examples of past student work, but when I made the video, this assignment was new and I didn't have any examples. So now I do. So I have a few of them here, not too many. This is a relatively short assignment. Everything I'm about to show you is somewhere between 6 and 9 seconds in length. So time-wise, it's very short, but you can pack a lot into a short amount of time, which is why this becomes a little bit difficult. And I'm gonna have to run a test on each one of these. Like I'm gonna have to go Control Enter because otherwise it might not play correctly. So let's go. So this person did it as one compound move. So it was like breaking kind of. And so that happens to hit this one, happens to this one, etc. A rare feat in pool, but still. And what's nice about it, especially at the end, is how slowly everything comes to a stop. We don't even see it stop. There's no frames afterwards, but you can see everything's like really slowing down. The 3 ball over here. Ricochets off and very slowly falls. These are nice little touches that you can put in where different things, ricochet off of the sides, and then kind of take their time there. The one thing I would change on this one is the fact that there's no breath afterwards, so that when it cycles through, it automatically restarts. There's no space at the end. You can always go to the end of something, click and drag down across here and hit F5, expand the whole thing out, and then that way, when it gets to the end, it stops for a little bit, right? And we can see how it actually stops, especially for the one that takes a long time. This actually shouldn't even be here. We can remove that because this item is no longer in that area and it makes it a little bit easier to kind of know what's going on. But this last one does go on for a while, and so we only know how that feels if we actually have a pause at the end. Let's see, what is this one? I named them, but I don't remember. So this has a little bit too much energy throughout the whole thing. If you'll notice, the cue ball hits the 8 ball and the 8 ball goes really fast. These things would lose energy more as they were going, but it's still a lot of nice geometry. The way things ricochet off of each other, the 3 ball hitting it, yeah. And you can see, let's see here. So the 3 ball ricochets off of there, hits the 12 ball, and then like accelerates basically. Like so, there's too much energy in the whole thing. But it's a lot of great geometry. But we want to be thinking about the speed of things as well as they're going. Because they should be losing speed every time they hit something. They also did some really nice fade outs for all the balls disappearing. That's not like part of the bare minimum requirement or anything, but it is a nice touch to have them kind of fade out as there's a 12 ball right there, as they're going into the pockets. Simon says hello. So next up we have one that I labeled it quick because it's probably very quick. Each of the moves is very quick. So they were going for how pool actually works, which is a little tough because pool is very fast. We technically in animation have to slow it down a little bit to have it work. I think they also are missing on eases. Let me check. So they do have some of them don't. So some of these things do not have any eases on them, and then some of them do. I don't know that that's the right spline to have though. So they're experimenting a lot with the different kinds of eases, but it wasn't necessarily the way it should be. What they do, sorry, my cat's stepping on the mouse. But what they do have is some nice stuff where after this one hits the 12 ball, it rolls but only a little bit and kind of rocks back and forth. Here it hits the 3 ball, ricochets off, and then again it keeps moving after it hits 3 ball, but not that much. And that's a nice little bit of animation they have going. Here, this one has a lot of ricocheting off the sides. Again, trying to be the way pool is, where it shoots really fast and things hit the way things hit each other, and so there's a lot of like I don't want to say dead space, but there you could see there's no animation in certain parts, which is nice. Please, if you're going to have like multiple shots take place, where there's this one and then there's this one, give us this breath. Don't have it just be hit, 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 like take a pause. That is part of the animation. There doesn't have to be just keyframes all over and tweens all over the place, right? So it hits these two things in very quick succession. It's almost hard to see. And then again, really quick on this one. If I recall correctly, yeah, see how many keys are on the 8-ball right here, which is really nice. Bounce, 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 bounce. And then again with the fading, which is really key. I wonder, is that, oh, that's where it's fading. Okay. Let me see one thing real quick. That's the cue ball, right? So yeah, this one does not have any eases on it. I say that's the biggest thing that's missing. When we watch it, it comes to a halt. It's got the right part where it like hits and then slows down, but is still going. But it should be slowing down once it hits. So it should be going fast here, and then this should have at least an ease out on it. Right? You can see the difference where it doesn't completely just come to a stop. And then the last one, this is by someone who has already worked professionally in anime, but they wanted to do a bit of squash and stretch action, make it more cartoony. Right? So it's just one complex motion. You don't have to have multiple hits if you want to do something that's a little bit more, involved. And so they set this up like this. These are not in the same place that I left them. And it's a lot of little details in this small amount of action. So first we have this is called anticipation. It's one way to do anticipation in animation where it's like, are they going to hit it? When are they going to hit it? Are they going to hit it? This person just like found a cue over somewhere in the interwebs. And then once they hit it, we've got a lot of, did that just vanish right there? I'm not sure if that was intentional. But it's zooming. And that one zooms and then hits that. And then I love the green ball kind of hits and then squashes. And then see how it like rolls around? It like rolls around in the pocket. That's nice. And then meanwhile, the 3-ball hits these, but they don't get all squashy and stretchy because it's only the first part that's like moving really fast. So if you want to try your hand at squash and stretch, there's no rule that says you can't. This is cartoon animation. You can do whatever you want. If you want to add some kind of other element, just please try to find something that's copyright free and limit it. We don't need lots and lots of bells and whistles. What I'm looking for is the animation, where you're putting the keyframes, where you're placing the objects for how fast they're moving, the eases that you are using. This person didn't use a lot of eases. They did it with keyframes. See how there's different keys everywhere or keyframes everywhere? They changed their timing through that. Usually that's just how they worked, which is totally valid. You don't always have to have an ease. Although I probably told them to put one. Yeah, I definitely told them to put one on these last ones so that they don't just like end. But for a lot of the quick stuff, you don't necessarily need eases on it. And yeah, so focus on the animation, the timing, the placement, where things are ricocheting off the sides and hitting each other. Is it in a way that makes sense? Right? Is that how these things would go? You don't need to break out your protractor, but you do need to be willing to make adjustments as you go.